Buenos dias. This is Kaipacha with the weekly Paleo report for April 28th of 2015. I come to nature to renew my soul. Oh my God, after a week like this last week, that is definitely necessary. I talked about it in the last report, at Mercury conjunct Mars, and the grand trine in the earth signs of Pluto, god of the underworld, trine, black moon, Lilith, the Kundalini force, grand trine with Mars in Taurus shaking the earth. I tell you, we had this volcano go off not far from the house, and everything is covered with ashes. Had a little earthquake here last night. We've had that earthquake in Nepal, volcanoes going off in Chile. The outside mirrors the inside, not only astrologically, but also Gaia, planet Earth. There's a lot of root chakra, powerful, deep forces wanting to be felt and be seen. So this is a really powerful time for consciousness also. Yeah, this is reflecting our soul's needs collectively these days. And it gets pretty intense, and it's only going to intensify here because we're going to have the full moon in Scorpio. Oh my God. That's happening on Sunday. It's at 13 degrees 23 minutes of Scorpio. And I can talk about the Sabian symbols for that. But, you know, right now, today's Tuesday, the moon's in Virgo. Thursday, she moves into Libra. Saturday moves into Scorpio, has that full moon on Sunday, and stays there in Scorpio until Tuesday, when she goes into Sagittarius. I'm just going down, down, down on this path. I don't know where I'm going. This is something else. Okay, anyway. Besides the movements of the moon, yes, on Thursday, Mercury goes into Gemini. Yes? And it goes into this opposition with Saturn that is really exact on Sunday. So we got Sun opposite Moon, Mercury opposite Saturn, all at the same time. That Sun is in square to Jupiter on Monday, and I really want to talk about this Jupiter because Jupiter is opposite the north node of Neptune. Yeah, Jupiter's at 13 degrees of Leo. It's going to be at that same degree from April 25th right up until May 1st. It's going pretty slow, staying at 13 degrees that whole time, opposing this north node of Neptune. And, you know, last week actually Mars was conjunct its own north node in Taurus. We've got the north node of Mars moving through Taurus. I could talk about all of this stuff for a whole day. I don't know how I'm going to squeeze this into one Paleo report. Okay, now we've got one path going over that way, down into the dark, deep forest. And we got another path going this way. Looks like it's going over a little more into the light. Well, for the full moon in Scorpio, I think we're going to want to go down into the dark of the jungle. Oh my God. Venus is moving through Gemini, and she's actually going to be moving into Cancer. Yeah, a little later on next week. So we've got this Mercury coming into Gemini with Venus. You know, we've still got the Sun in Taurus coming into that square with Jupiter. And I just want to point out one more thing before I get into the interpretation, and that is Pluto squaring the moon's nodes. Yeah? I talked about it before. It was exact back in January, but you know, it's really going on all the way from December until May. Pluto is still square the moon's nodes as I speak right now. And this is a critical turning point, yes, in the soul's evolutionary path that we really want to pay attention to. So, okay, one more thing, last but not least, this Jupiter at 13 degrees of Leo we need to just understand that the first pass of that came in the middle of September. Then it turned and went retrograde, came back in the middle of March, okay? And finally, it's turned direct, and now it's coming back for the third pass, you know, this week at this 13-degree mark. I'm going to talk about the Sabian symbols for that as soon as I find a little spot to face the camera. Okay. Okay. Not too sure where to start here with all of this. I'm going to start with Jupiter because it's in Leo and the sun is coming up to square that Jupiter. We just finished having moon square sun, moon going through Leo. You know, Leo is, like I said, opposite this north node of Neptune. And what is it about? The Sabian symbol for this 14th degree of Leo is a soul seeking to manifest itself. So we want to talk about the soul seeking to manifest itself. And this is coming up to, you know, be in this kind of like a square, okay, with this Taurus Scorpio full moon that's coming up. So it's interesting that Leo is square Taurus Scorpio. This is the part of the fixed cross. We want to discuss that a little bit today. This could be a long Pele report. Because I don't know how I'm going to squeeze like all of this into one thing. Oh my God. Okay. The north node of Neptune, the Sabian symbol is a train entering a tunnel. And that train entering a tunnel, the interpretation Dane Rudhyar gives that degree, okay, is that it's possible to shortcut the process through the use of our human skill, intelligence, willpower. It takes a lot to dig a tunnel through the mountain, right, to have that shortcut for that train to go through. So this is the north node of Neptune in the sign of Aquarius. I mean, it's there for hundreds of years, but this particular degree, the Sabian symbol, is really appropriate for us now with the Jupiter opposition, okay? And we can also look at that opposition in terms of a soul seeking to manifest itself. You know, in a way, the polarity of that is, you know, the train is also a group of people, taking a group of people through that shortcut. Last but not least, then, we have, you know, the Sabian symbol for the degree of this full moon in Scorpio. And that full moon in Scorpio, okay, is saying to us, it is linemen, as in telephone linemen, you know, working to establish new connections. So now we have the Scorpio, other people's values, other people's money, you know, death of the individual self and forces beyond our control and, you know, all this kind of, you know, intimate sexual union, everything going on out, you know, kind of coming at us, you know, from the outside world. Opposite this sun in Taurus, which is, this is mine, my body, my money, my skills, my talents, you know, that's, you know, get it together and receive. So we've got this, you know, interplay going on. And, you know, when I want to try to like boil it down to a 15-minute Pele report. Could give a 2-hour talk on this, but, you know, the interpretation that I'm seeing, you know, with all of this is obviously, number one, Scorpio, and we've all been dealing with this. Oh, and we have to take in the Mercury opposite Saturn. You know, which is shadow. Saturn is shadow. Scorpio has to do with shadow. This moon has to do with shadow. And, you know, what is shadow? Shadow is unconscious aspects and elements of ourselves that we are guilty about or ashamed about or not in touch with, that we suppress and project the negative out onto other people and the world at large. So whenever we're getting triggered, okay, by a person, by the Illuminati, by a government or a country or our spouse or, you know, anybody we're in relationship with, our business partners, whenever we're getting triggered, okay, that, you know, it brings up anger within us, it's an instant, you know, indicator, instant indicator, instant indicator of shadow. That there is something in this person. We got to go back to, the Mayans. In Lakesh. I am another you. That means that other people is another me. Oh no, you may say in certain circumstances. and it really, if we look at life as the process of making the unconscious conscious, and even the soul manifesting itself. The soul is unconscious. The ego is conscious, the soul is unconscious. So the soul manifesting itself requires the ego to get in touch with its own unconscious soul nature. And this is not always a pleasant, easy, happy, process. It involves truth, uncovering layers and layers. And so we can say, what may trigger you? Just look at this, this Scorpio, this moon in Scorpio. You'll come up to it this weekend. We're all going to get triggered. Yee! We'll all be able to see unconscious shadow aspects and elements of ourselves in order that we may fully embrace the totality of our being, which is also our power, Black Moon, Lilith, and Pluto. I mean, these are our unconscious root kundalini, forces, and that is our chi life force. So it's interesting, this interplay between light and dark. And I want to say that if you're listening to the Pele Report, and you're into astrology, and you're into, evolution, and, spiritual awakening and liberation, this is very Aquarius and Pisces, and, upper world, celestial world. It's the world of the light. And so part of this coming into this shadow, coming into the dark, coming into Scorpio, Pluto, Lilith, all of this, stuff within ourselves, is not always, nice, fun, comfortable. We can pretend, we can imagine, we can hope that we are already the ideal. And we can have these ideals of the new age of Aquarius and the end of patriarchy and the end of selfishness and the end of greed. And, we're all living in community and unity and diversity. We're all accepting how diverse everybody else is. But all I can say is that's a long way off. What really has to happen is you can't, how can I say, you can't give away something you don't have. You have to own your whole self before you can give yourself away. You have to have a whole bunch of money before you can be a philanthropist. Okay, you have to be like fully, sexually, emotionally satisfied before you are like shining your light and glorious and, really in your full aura, all day long, whatever, It's like, and so this is the play between Taurus and Scorpio. It's like Taurus is hoarding, gathering, survival. This is mine, bring it in. It's ruled by Venus, receptivity. It's like we all need to acknowledge that we have an ego. And this ego's function is to keep us alive, to help us survive in a physical plane, to develop capacities and talents so that we can manifest something in the third dimension, that we're not just dreaming away. We have to acknowledge, we have to learn how to receive, and we have to, just really come into owning that we have an ego, that we are selfish. There's an aspect of every single one of us that is selfish and self-centered and really about me. And gather in those energies and the money and the resources and gather in all of this, and then you can give it away. Then you can manifest. Then you've got something to create with. If you try to assume, okay, that you're this high being and, you've got no dark side and, I'm not selfish or greedy or blah, blah, blah. That's the Illuminati and that's the, capitalists and the this, that, and the other thing. And you put it out there, you may very well end up, right, with no resources, no talents, no skills, no, I mean, it's like you're not really focusing on yourself. So you have to like focus on yourself. Taurus says build up new capacities, new talents, new skills, gather together new resources and new money and new sexual experience. And feel that energy moving through all of your chakras. Not be the dreamer. So all these light workers need to come down into the dark, and all, the underworld characters need to come up into the light. And I mean, we're all doing the frickin' seasonal change. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So this is a time period where you may get triggered, but I want to encourage you to use all of your triggers as mirrors to open you up to where you are now. And where you are now may not be your ideal self, but you've got to start with reality and start with, yourself and work your way towards the ideal. Yeah? So, this time period now, we're all getting shook, yeah? And the, the anger's coming up, and the frustration and the resentment or the jealousies or the, pointing fingers and blaming and judging, and, it's all out there, and it's all, it's like, oh my God, yeah? The full moon in Scorpio is illumination. The full moon is illumination. The moon is reflecting back to us. Through other people and through forces in the world and the planet that we can't control, that, hey, get your shit together and look at, what you're owning and what you're not owning, and own your totality so that this Jupiter in Leo can really fully manifest. So, the mantra for today. Though life is an interplay of light and dark, from sunny days to Noah's Ark, I will use my mind, my strength, and my will to manifest my soul, its truth, to fulfill. This brings us to that north node of Neptune in Aquarius, the train entering the tunnel. We need to go in to that tunnel. If we want to really liberate, if we want to really bring in a new paradigm, if we want to really awaken, it involves going in through that tunnel. Yeah. And of course, even more than that, making the tunnel, digging the tunnel, constructing the tunnel. Oh my God. It's like, okay, I think of the slave trade and the Underground Railroad, It's like, as, leaders of a new age or whatever, it's like it's up to, people wanting to create this new paradigm to forge these tunnels, make these new tunnels into awareness so that the others can follow and the train tracks can be laid and we can make our way into the future together. It's not about being alone. So, yes, it's and it's putting the ego in its right place, not denying it, but owning it, seeing the value of it, and knowing that we are much more than just that. It's not either or, that we're either egos or spiritual. We are spiritual egos. The old both and. Okay, mantra one more time. Yeah? Though life is an interplay of light and dark, from sunny days to Noah's Ark, I will use my mind, my strength, and my will to manifest my soul, its truth to fulfill. Namaste. Aloha. Happy full moon.